The story of Sodom and Gomorrah is a well-known narrative from the book of Genesis in the Hebrew Bible. It is a story about divine judgment, sin, and the fate of the righteous. Here is a summary of the key events: the wickedness of Sodom and Gomorrah. The story begins with the description of Sodom and Gomorrah as two cities sinning greatly against the Lord. The exact nature of their sins has been a subject of theological debate for centuries, but the biblical text and other related passages mention several factors: inhospitality and arrogance. The prophet Ezekiel describes the sin of Sodom as pride, excess of food, and prosperous ease, but did not aid the poor and needy. The story itself emphasizes a deep lack of hospitality and a hostile attitude toward strangers. Sexual immorality and violence. The most dramatic and explicit sin in the narrative is the violent demand of the men of the city to sexually assault two angelic visitors. This act is seen by many as a clear example of the city's perverted and violent nature. General depravity. Other biblical texts also refer to the city's general wickedness, idolatry, and injustice. Abraham's plea God, having decided to destroy the cities for their grave sins, first reveals his plan to Abraham, who has a special relationship with God. Abraham, whose nephew Lot lives in Sodom, pleads with God to spare the cities if a certain number of righteous people can be found there. He begins by asking if God would spare the city for 50 righteous people, and through a series of negotiations, he eventually gets God to agree to spare the cities if even 10 righteous people can be found. The angels visit to Lot's house. Two angels, disguised as men, arrive in Sodom. They are met by Lot, who, unlike the rest of the city, demonstrates hospitality and urges them to stay at his home instead of in the city square. That evening, a mob of men from every part of the city of Sodom, both young and old, surrounds Lot's house and demands that he bring out his guests so they can know them, a term for sexual assault. Lot goes outside and tries to reason with the crowd, even offering his own daughters to them. But the mob becomes even more aggressive. The angels then pull Lot back into the house and strike the men outside with blindness. The destruction of the cities. The angels reveal their true purpose to Lot. They have been sent to destroy the city. They urge Lot, his wife, and his two daughters to flee and not to look back. As they escape, the Lord rained on Sodom and Gomorrah sulfur and fire from the Lord out of heaven. The cities and all the inhabitants are destroyed. The fate of Lot's wife. In an act of disobedience, Lot's wife looks back at the destruction, and she is immediately turned into a pillar of salt. Lot and his daughters find refuge in a nearby town called Zoar. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah serves as a powerful cautionary tale about the consequences of sin and the importance of righteousness and hospitality. It is a foundational story in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, often cited as a clear example of divine justice.